Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Insiders. This month I'm joined by Karen Agombar, our Head of Product and Proposition. Hi Karen.
Hi James, thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for coming on, appreciate it. Let's start then, I guess. So firstly, Karen, just for everyone watching, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your history?
Yeah, of course. Well, I've been with Kensington a little while now, 24 years, would you believe? Worked across many areas of the business, started in sales like yourself, and looked after many a broker in the London and the South East, and then started looking after marketing and product. And more recently, I say recently, last 7-8 years, product and proposition. So looking at everything from the design through to delivery of product, including the pricing and the maintaining of the pricing that we have it on the market.
Wow, fair to say there's some experience there then. Do you use what you've learned in those previous roles much in your current one?
Absolutely. Everything, all the information that you get, all the learning you have, you can take through into your next role. And so when we're looking at product and proposition, not only is the customer at the heart of it, but the broker and the broker experience, making sure that we take into consideration how's the broker going to access the products and the systems involved, etc., and the work they have to do to be able to advise their customers with the right products to find the right solutions for their needs. So having had that background, it really, really helps, I think, to start shaping some of what we do.
I can imagine it gives you a really well-rounded sort of view of the situation, whatever that may be.
Well, I think oh, sorry, apologies.
Go on, Karen.
I was going to say, I think it really helps when, our colleagues in sales come back with feedback from brokers, and it's being able to understand that and then transition that into something that we can actually do something with. So absolutely.
Yeah, spot on. I was just going to say, what was your first role when you moved into the products and propositions team?
I was still took over the team actually. So I actually looked after a team of 2 pricing managers. And then it's kind of broadened, and we now look after both the pricing, the development, and the delivery as well. Wow. So we have a team that actually their sole focus is in making sure that the pricing gets through into the portal, the brokers can access the products, etc., and it's on sourcing. So yeah, we span the whole lifespan of the products, and then as it's developed over the years, you start looking at things like the enhanced regulation on the products and making sure that the customers are at the heart of everything.
Wow. So you've had a few changes in terms of how the team looks then. So what are the biggest changes you've seen since you've sort of been at Kensington?
Well, I suppose, when we look at the customer needs specifically, flexible working has played a big part, I think. Over the years, there is not the standard 9-to-5 jobs that perhaps people were used to when I first joined. And, even ourselves, when we're sitting here, we're in different locations. And I think when brokers are looking for solutions for their customers, they're looking for flexibility in the product. They're looking for flexibility in the proposition. So for me, it's around that flexibility and the regulatory environment, focusing on that flexibility and making sure that anything that the customer needs, whether it be affordability, flexibility, is flowing through to the proposition, not just the pure pricing.
Gotcha. And I guess you sort of mentioned a minute ago about that feedback into the BDMs, which then obviously gets filtered through to you guys. I guess that's so important because then you know exactly what the broker needs, what they're seeing, right?
Absolutely. And actually that process has changed over the years. So when I was in sales, it was all face-to-face. It was visiting brokers, etc. And obviously that plays such a massive part today and is still so really important. But actually, over time, giving the customer the choice of how they contact us, and actually, most importantly, the broker the choice of how they contact us, whether it be web chat, whether it be through the BDU and the telephony. Really, I think just helps, and also having access to underwriters. So all of that feedback, whether it be online, whether it be face-to-face telephony, or through the underwriters, kind of comes back to the product and proposition, and we try and fill that through to the end product.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a few other teams that we have, and we've talked about that a little bit on previous episodes. And one of the things that I've noticed most since I've been at Kensington, it's been a few years now, is how joined up all the different departments are and how they really do sort of work together, which is that's great.
Absolutely. It's key, I think, especially when you're looking at a product that's designed for such a long time, 25 years, 30 years. The customer, is going to hopefully be with us as a lender for a long time, and making sure that the broker has a way of supporting his customer throughout that journey, and us making sure we're supporting the broker throughout that journey is key, in my mind.
Absolutely. You mentioned a couple of bits there about sort of how it's changed over time. What do you and your team do to sort of anticipate what's coming? So like things that impact the customer.
So for me, there's a lot of data mining. There's the feedback we take from the sales team, and then there's a lot of data work, both our internal data looking at who are the customers that are being recommended to us, what do they look like, their demographic, what do they need, but then actually looking at market data, whether it be through sourcing illustrations. So what's the demand, where are brokers looking for product for their customers, also people like UK Finance when they put their reports out, looking at what actually is happening in the market and the trends, and then trying to develop the products and supply solutions that supports customers' needs. So to give you an example, when we developed pre-COVID Hero and Professionals, we were seeing that focus on affordability and the challenges that customers were seeing, and being able to use data to look at specific customer cohorts was really, really invaluable to us. And then more recently, we've broadened our buy-to-let proposition to launch buy-to-let prime, that enables us to really give solutions that are from a simple to a far more complex proposition for limited company buy-to-let and individuals.
Brilliant. And is there any other sort of like internal systems or anything that you use to sort of help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of Power BI, so we have a lot of rich data that enables us to then not only just through spreadsheets, but to be visualized and look at trends over time and compare last year to this year or last month to this month. We also have some reporting tools and financial tools that we've developed in-house, that such as our Vector, which I think has been covered before on previous insights, just that we can use to look at how we're targeting specific customer needs and how we're going to develop our products.
Wow. So lots going on. And is there anyone else sort of in your team that supports with that as well? Because you obviously mentioned you've got a few different areas and people that you look after now.
Yeah, absolutely. So more recently, we've taken on some data scientists. And if I look back in the past, we would have never had data scientists in the pricing team. We would have had some pricing managers and proposition managers looking at criteria, looking at pricing. We've now got our own data scientists that are helping to translate all of that rich data into trends and being able to point us and point the teams in the right direction of where they need to look and how we can provide solutions in a sensible way to ensure that the customer's at the heart of everything.
Nice. And what, obviously there's a lot gone on so far this year already, but what sort of external factors are there that affect you guys in products?
Well, I think, when we're looking at external factors, there are a few things. We have market swap rates is a key one, particularly when the markets become volatile. That impacts the way that we price. And when we came into 2026, we were expecting 2 base rate cuts and inflation to come down. And with the geopolitical pressures, we've seen that not happen as quickly as anticipated. And therefore, we've had to change what we were planning to do accordingly.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned swap rates there, just for everyone watching. Can you just explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. Well, swap rates is the rate at which lenders borrow money. And that's the rate that it then impacts the rate in which the lender can lend the money out to the customers. So when swap rates are volatile, it really means that we have to be on our game on our pricing. And as no doubt the brokers will attest to, there's been a fair few changes recently. And watching those swap rates is really key for us.
On your game, I can definitely say with confidence that you guys are always on your game when it comes to that. I mean, the speed at which we can get new products out has been amazing. And of course, earlier on in the year as well, we were ever present in the market when a lot of lenders weren't and stuff. So was that a difficult time?
Absolutely. I mean, look, it was very challenging for the team, and I absolutely understand it was very challenging for brokers, because it's not just Kensington changing rates, it was a market thing. So I think for me it's really important, and we've changed our processes to try and support brokers as much as we can, try and give them that 48 hours notice so they know exactly where they stand, to ensure that they're not having to go back to customers, disappoint them, and re-advise. I think, and also just making sure that we've always got product available is really important to me. I don't want to be having to pull product out of the market and have nothing available. So it's really, really important for us to be, wherever possible, quick and nimble to respond, but to maintain products in the market for the brokers.
I think there's two bits you mentioned there that for me are massive wins. Like I say, the fact that we were ever present, so always keeping something out there in the market, just to build that trust, let brokers know that we are always there. And you mentioned 48 hours notice as well.
Absolutely. Again, we will do everything we can to give 48 hours notice, because it's so important for the brokers to keep that continuity with their customers. If they've advised the customer and the customer is comfortable with the proposal, then it's really important for us to try and maintain that continuity throughout.
And what does a broker need to do to sort of keep that rate they can keep for a period of time, right?
So I suppose kind of the key tip there, particularly when you're in volatile markets, is to look out for product updates, emails. We'll keep you advised whenever we're going to change, and as we say, we try and give that 48 hours notice. And then it's really important that when you've done your decision in principle, you've got your accept, is actually to move the case into an application stage. So get past that first page on the application on our system, and that will then secure the rate. That will enable the broker to kind of walk away, catch his breath, finish what he's doing, and then come back and complete the application in line with the timelines on the emails. But it's really, really important that for the broker to get to that stage to secure the rate for the customer.
Gotcha. So they've got to have started that full mortgage application.
Right. Yeah.
That's good, but they haven't got to fully submit it, which means they can still, like you say, go away, speak to the customer, make sure that they're happy. But at least the broker can sort of have their mind at ease that it's there waiting for the customer if they're ready to go ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. And you mentioned another little tip there, something about the emails, something about the
Yeah, absolutely. We work really, really closely, as you mentioned before, across teams. We're really collaborative across teams at Kensington, and we work really closely with our marketing colleagues. And we ensure that whenever we're going to make price changes, they're really fully aware, and we get the emails out to the brokers as soon as we can within that 48 hours. So we'll always have it as a product update in the title. So, look out for that on your emails, and they're the ones to watch. And we'll be really clear on what's happening and when it's happening and what the deadlines are, so that we can keep you advised and keep the brokers advised as much as possible.
Perfect. And there's claims on there as well as the what we just mentioned a moment ago about how far through the app they have to go to. Absolutely.
We reiterate on every email, and we give the timelines, the deadlines, the dates and the times that need to happen.
Awesome. Karen, that was everything that I had to ask. I mean, that was very insightful. That was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And thank you all for watching. We do have one episode left of this first series of The Insiders. So next month I'll be joined by our head of sales, Jane Atkins. So make sure you come along for that too, and I'll see you then.